Ready? Go.
Welcome back to Retro Rewire. We're in another episode of In the Hunt. My name is JJ and we are in Shinjuku, and we're actually going to head back to Suruga-Ya. It's been a few months since I've last been here, and thought it would be good to check it out again because, as you can see, it's a huge display case. So many items in here. But before we get underway, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. It would help the channel out. But anyhow, let's get underway as there's a lot to see in this display case. But I'm not going to go too much into great detail because this is a store that I'll probably be revisiting frequently, and I'll be highlighting different things as with each different visit. But we'll start things off with this PlayStation 3 60 gig fat model, backwards compatible with the PS2, and as you can see, $270. Now I don't know if it's complete in the box, but it does have the box and the console and the controller and cables and whatnot. And they had a number of PlayStation portable systems, but before we take a look at these PSPs, check out these controllers. $200 for this hoary GameCube controller. Now that's super premium, as well as this ASCII pad for the Dreamcast at $76, and then we have the Justifier there in the red at $49. But definitely cool to see those. But look at all these PlayStation portables, all sorts of colors. And then we have the Psp Go. This is definitely a little bit of a luxury system now at $165. These definitely skyrocketed in price. But interestingly enough, there was no PlayStation Vitas here, which was very surprising. But as you can see, there's a number of Nintendo handhelds, but no PS Vitas, which is a shame. And then here we have a few 32-bit games that are freaking expensive. I mean, look at this. Dracula X, $175, Alpha 3 for $250, Hyperduel for $459. I mean, all these games are big baller games. And then in the back, we're going to take a closer look. This Lomax for $200. Now, Lomax is a PS1 game that I've been wanting for years, but I'm going to have to trade something in to get that copy because I definitely would like to add Lomax to my collection. But anyhow, we're going to take another, we'll just skim over this these games here, and definitely feel free to pause. But as you can see, everything is in the triple digits. Or, you know, I mean, if you convert everything to dollars, that is. But not cheap. I mean, look at that, $320 for that Final Fight Revenge. And then we have Metal Slug 3 here for the Neo Geo, and this is one of those games, if you have to ask, you probably don't have the cash to get it. I'm sure that game's in a couple grand. And then a number of handheld games here, and the one that kind of sticks out is this here, Speedy Gonzales at $279. That's freaking premium. And then we have Killer Instinct kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. It's the North American version there. This has some pretty cool cover. This what is it, Legend of Gar whatever, 124. I don't know what that is, but definitely dig the artwork there. But just a number of games here for the Mega Drive and Famicom. 140 for Castlevania 3. I mean, that's definitely a hefty asking price, but looks freaking cool. Alien vs Predator for the Game Gear, 160. And then we have Metal Gear, I believe that's Babel for 114. Now this is interesting here. Check out this. $528 for World Series Baseball 2K2. Oh my goodness. Never mind this KOF 95 that I'm trying to highlight, but you know, that's freaking expensive for the baseball game. That must be like super rare. Could be sealed too, I don't know. But then at the top, all sorts of hardware, from consoles and joysticks, as you can see, racing wheels. They pretty much got you covered here. Even the maracas from oh gosh, I forget the name of the game for the Dreamcast there. But and then even in the bargain bin, we have a few joysticks, and then we have this Sega Saturn joystick, which kind of just shot up in price, in value. I picked one up for $20, and now it's at $77. Freaking steep. But this one can be modded with Sanwa parts, if that's your thing. But anyhow, that was the display case. freaking loaded with all sorts of goodies. But now let's talk about the game aisle. Let's take a look at the game aisle, and we'll start with the 360. Now, unfortunately, I didn't go into great detail with the Xbox stuff. And this store is actually one of the stores that has the bigger selection of Xbox games, all generations. And the reason why I didn't film this was actually because it was a section that I was actually shopping, and I totally, totally forgot. Because, you know, it's just how it is. I picked up Conan here, and then the game in the back is the limited edition, special edition of Gears of War. But then here we have a couple joysticks for the Xbox 360. We have Virtua Fighter 5 and also the Blaze Blue joystick. And I believe they're both the same price at about 18 bucks. Not bad for some cool looking joysticks. But anyhow, we have some 3DO games here. We have Alone in the Dark, kind of like the early progenitor to the Resident Evil series, at least in the perspective and gameplay mechanics, but kind of cool to see this. Never seen that one before. And then we have Slam & Jam 95, and when I first saw this, I was confusing it with NBA Jam, but upon a closer inspection, I realized that it's Slam & Jam, and I haven't heard of this game before, but it's about 8 bucks, and it's a you know, that's fairly cheap. And I don't know if you guys have a 3DO, let me know if this is any good. But then we have the PCFX, a number of games for this system, but I think a lot of these are going to be, you know, kind of a little bit difficult to play, mainly because of the you know, getting a PCFX, but also the language barrier. But anyhow, Neo Geo Pocket, I believe there's a collection of Neo Geo Pocket coming out for the Switch, which will include this Metal Slug, and this one's at 71 bucks, super expensive. But when the Switch ports come out, I'll definitely look into picking up a copy. But 85 bucks for Metal Slug for the Sega Saturn. Definitely want to add that to my collection. And then we have Power Drift. Now, 3DS version is the way to go. Then we have Astal for 58 bucks. Definitely a cool 2D action platformer. And then we have Cyberbots, the limited edition, for 48. But it is, I believe, missing a few items. And there's just the backside of this limited edition. Now, the actual box is in fairly good condition considering its age. And then we have Splatterhouse 3 for 85 bucks for the Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis. Definitely a cool game. Haven't beat it yet, but one day. Anyhow, let's go ahead and check out some PlayStation 3 games. Apart from picking up those two Xbox 360 games, I also picked up a few PlayStation 3 games, and then it was about roughly a 12-foot section of PS3 games, so pretty hefty. And it's a mix of mostly, of course, Japanese games, but they had a few North American games in the mix too. Then we have the RE collection there, and then in the upper right there we have all the foreign games, which North American games. A lot of cool stuff there. And you know, but I try to, when I come out here, I try to limit my spending because I can go definitely crazy. I think most of us can, especially when we're just bombarded with so many quality titles. And it's kind of interesting, you know, PlayStation 3, it's a system that I've always been collecting for since I got one way back in 2007, a little bit after launch, because it was kind of a tough time getting a PS3 like it's getting a PS5 now. But a lot of good stuff, and we'll take a closer look at a few games that have shot up in price in North America, like this Africa here in Japan. It's about 9 bucks. But it doesn't support any English language options, and that's probably the reason why it's still cheap. As well as Folk Soul or Folklore, as you saw, $4 in America. That's like a triple-digit game almost. And we have Biohazard Revelations, the Unveiled Edition, the greatest hits, which includes the Jill and Chris file. We have Heavy Rain. I recently picked up a copy of this, the Move Edition. Looking forward to playing it. And look at this awesome cover to Metal Gear Rising, the special edition, freaking awesome. And then Super Street Fighter 4 for 10. This includes like a extra DVD or movie thing. Then we have Dead Island, Riptide, and Game of the Year combo. and Dante's Inferno. This is a game that I would really love to add to my collection, but unfortunately the Japanese version is only no English language options. But those are the two games that I picked up, as well as this navigation move controller, and it was only 18 bucks. Usually these are like twice that, or you know, sometimes a lot more. And the reason why that navigation controller was so cheap was because it was the European version, but it's compatible with all PlayStation 3s regardless of the region. So I feel like I got pretty lucky picking up that navigation controller. But this is kind of cool here. I ended up picking up these little handles for the PS Vita 1000 for $1. And speaking of Vita, let's go ahead and check out a few PlayStation Vita games. As you can see, quite a bit of One Piece games there. And I don't know, like the PlayStation Vita, I definitely enjoy playing mine, but there's only a handful of games that I'm after at this point. My collection is not very large, but here's one that I want to add, Dead or Alive 5 Plus, and this is $16. Now this one does support English language, and I didn't pick it up, but I should have. And then here's another one that I want to add, Darius Burst, for about 45 bucks. I hear good things about this one, but it's also now available on the Nintendo Switch. But anyhow, we're gonna skim through this section one more time a little bit closer. Definitely feel free to pause so you can have a closer look if you'd like. Now the PlayStation Vita, interesting library, a lot of good games. Some of the games that I'm after in physical format are the Ninja Gaiden games, Sigma Plus and Sigma Plus 2. Although those games are censored, especially the Japanese versions. I believe Sigma and Sigma Plus lack any kind of decapitations, which is no good. But anyhow, let's focus on the games on screen here. I believe this one got a port on the PlayStation 4 early on. Then we have Grand Kingdom, which this cover kind of reminds me of a Vanillaware title, but don't know too much about it. And then we have all these collections, limited editions of like these little girly girl like hentai type of games. Not really too familiar with those and don't really have much interest, but as well as like some of the visual novels that it's showing. But I imagine that there's a huge following for these types of games, as the system is just littered with them. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is, but thought I'd show it off. And then this section is mainly like visual novel, and as you can see, it's quite a bit. But actually, when I was here at the store, this section was actually heavily shopped. So I had to wait quite a bit just to have my chance to film it and not get in anybody's way. But definitely still kind of a popular system in Japan. I mean, look at all this stuff. I have no clue what this is, but it's still kind of neat to see. It's just like loaded with these games. And a lot of these games are not terribly expensive. I mean, I don't know what this is, but like 16 bucks there. Well, 41 bucks, that's kind of steep for a Vita game. And then 48, well, I guess I take that back. Wow. Anyhow, here's a little poster showing you what the buyback prices are on a few games. And actually there's a few that are high priced. But anyhow, this was another In the Hunt episode, and I hope to return to this store in the future to check out a few more things. But please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for checking out Retro ReWire. My name is JJ, and I hope to see you all soon. Ciao.